Fill my heart with your word, that I may praise your name, and I'll give glory to thee, my God.
For about as long as anyone can remember, there have been people claiming a supernatural power for foretelling the future. I've already dealt with that subject in the Evidences playlist, and I've put a link right up here if you missed that or would like to refresh your memory. As I've already pointed out in that video, there's a big difference between what they do and what we find in the Bible. So let's get right to the subject of why there are prophecies of the future in Scripture. In Deuteronomy 18:20 through 22, Moses said, "But the prophet who shall speak a word presumptuously in my name, which I have not commanded him to speak, or which he shall speak in the name of other gods, that prophet shall die. And you may say in your heart, how shall we know the word which the Lord has not spoken? When a prophet speaks in the name of the Lord, if the thing does not come about or come true, that is the thing which the Lord has not spoken. The prophet has spoken it presumptuously. You shall not be afraid of him." Prophecy of the future has the function of validating the message of the prophet. We can know that innately. It's just one of those natural conclusions that you're forced to when someone knows something unknowable before it actually happens. Saying the sun will come up tomorrow at such and such a time is not foretelling the unknowable. Predicting the exact wording of a specific major newspaper's headline 1 year from now would bear some investigation. However, you might not want to jump on that bandwagon until you know if the prophet is a friend of the publisher. The Israelites knew this about prophecy and its principle. Micaiah told King Ahab, "If you indeed return safely, the Lord has not spoken by me." 1 Kings 22:28. Micaiah had told Ahab and Jehoshaphat not to go into battle, and that it would end in disaster. So Micaiah is calling on this principle of, if it doesn't come to pass, then I'm a fraud. That isn't hard to figure out, but we don't always think rationally about it. The Mormons, for example, tout the predictions of Joseph Smith about a coming civil war as evidence that he was a prophet of God. There are two problems with that. First, everyone knew that war was coming. It was just a matter of time, and it wasn't hard to figure out who was so worked up that they would fire the first shot. The second problem is even deeper. Joseph Smith prophesied falsely on more than one occasion. My favorite is Doctrine and Covenants 1:11, which told the Mormons that they would find treasure in Salem, Massachusetts. The Mormon explanation is that valuable souls were intended by this prophecy. But the prophecy specifically states, "Its wealth pertaining to gold and silver shall be yours. Concern not yourselves about your debts, for I will give you power to pay them." That's in verses 4 and 5. As I pointed out in the Evidences videos, when you get specific with your prophecies, you'd better be a real prophet. Otherwise, leave your prophecies vague because you're going to get burned. Prophets of old made attempts at predicting the future, although they were false prophets and didn't have any power. They did so sometimes through their dreams. The Lord spoke of prophets in Jeremiah's day, saying, "Do not let your prophets who are in your midst and your diviners deceive you, and do not listen to the dreams which they dream, for they prophesy falsely to you in my name. I have not sent them." That's in chapter 29, verses 8 and 9. And God said of false prophets through Ezekiel, "They see falsehood and lying divination, who are saying, 'The Lord declares,' when the Lord has not sent them. Yet they hope for the fulfillment of their word." You see, they're hoping it'll be confirmed by the prophecy coming true. And that's in Ezekiel 13 and verse 6. They were telling the people what they wanted to hear. And one false prophecy should brand a prophet as false. That's what Moses said, and we should take that to heart. When we study Bible prophecy, we must never forget that it must either come to pass or brand the prophet as a false prophet. This is extremely serious and should make us cautious in interpreting. Moving forward, we're going to learn that if we don't keep the fulfillment of a prophecy in sight, we may be doing irreparable harm to a correct understanding of the prophecy and possibly the remainder of Scripture.